Welcome. Sports Talk Live for the culture. How's it going, fellas?
Going great, man. Going great.
Hey, what's up? All good.
We got Mr. Hayes back in the building. How you doing, Andre?
Mr. Hayes.
I'm all right. Glad to be back.
Doug, how you doing, man?
I'm feeling fine, man. I'm here.
Jonathan, how you doing?
What's going on?
Duke, how you doing?
Man, it's football season, man.
Oh yeah, we in it. We in it hot and heavy. Almost a quarter away through the season. Week number 4 is coming up right here. You know, we're going to get involved. Got some NFL talk. Definitely with the big news. We had a good Thursday night game. Let's start off with that.
Yes, we did.
For a change, we had the Philadelphia Eagles and the Green Bay Packers in Lambeau Field, getting it in. Definitely was one of the better games than you've seen in a while on Thursday night. Thursday night's been played with some duds and some sleepers, most definitely, if you look back moving forward. And the Philadelphia Eagles came up victorious, 34 to 27. It was an offensive show, going back and forth. The Eagles defense bend but did not break on occasions. And it also featured the young quarterback Carson, and probably one of his biggest games because the Eagles were 1-2 at the time. Don't want to go 1-3 with 3 conference losses against Aaron Rodgers. If you look at the game, Aaron Rodgers put up like almost 500 yards passing in the loss, but you had Carson Wentz didn't have a lot of passing yardage, but he had touchdowns. He had 3 passing touchdowns in the red zone, and the game came basically down to the Eagles were more efficient in the red zone against the vaulted Packers defense. And if you look at it, one of the things we had talked about earlier when they played the Bears is that the Packers played a lot of nickel, regardless on what the teams were in and regardless on how they played 2 tight ends, 12 personnel, 2 tight ends, 1 running back, 2 wide receivers. And it worked against Chicago. But I think the Eagles' offense was a lot better, more balanced. They had a quarterback that could attack you, and they had the running game. They got like 160 yards and rushing, 6 yards per carry. What do you guys think of the game Thursday night?
I think it was a great game. I mean, we were due for one.
Yeah.
And the Eagles got a lot of their playmakers back last week. But, to your point of the Packers standing nickel, I think the Eagles was, before the season, they were the one team that was touted as a team that could give the most problems in that situation because they can play either way because they have 2 tight ends that they can keep on the field and they can run from that formation. They can pass. That's actually seems like their preferred formation to pass from anyway. So it's like, if you want to play nickel against them, and I guess early on maybe they weren't running as much against it and why they probably were having so much trouble, but it seemed like in the second half of the game Thursday night they figured it out. Now maybe that was by Jeffrey wasn't 100%, Goddard wasn't 100%, so they just decided, hey, we're going to do this. But you saw both of their running backs had great games, and in that second half they just looked pretty much like the Packers didn't have a chance to stop them at all in the second half. To me, that's how it looked.
I'm gonna go a step further than just say the Eagles are better than Green Bay, and why is because they were just running the football. It didn't look like that because it didn't look like that the Eagles Green Bay could even stop what they were doing. Like in the second half, it was just like, okay, we're going to run the football. When you start getting 8 yards a pop, it means that they can't do anything, and it was on a consistent basis they were doing that. And last I looked, Deshaun Jackson's not on the field. So when he comes back, they have even better football team. Then you go into hostile territory. Your identity, you're still trying to figure things out as far as the Eagles. But you go there and you win. But the one thing I can say is, and this is a testament to Mr. Adams, when he left the game changed. Because it was kind of easy, and we were thinking, it was looking like
Eagles were banged up in that secondary.
Yeah, and it was looking like it was about to be 17-0. That's what I was looking at. But he went out of the game, and the momentum kind of like shifted a little bit because 29 was looking kind of like, wait a second, I was thinking about getting back in shape when I saw the cushion he was giving over there, and so
yeah.
But he left, and the game changed, and the Eagles prevailed, hostile territory, and I think that moving forward, I think that they are a better football team than Green Bay, because it looks like Green Bay is they still are missing something, right? And the Eagles were able to move the ball. I didn't see that.
For them to run the ball.
Right. Absolutely, and that's where I would lean.
They
to
lost
the Eagles.
their starting running back. First series, I believe he got concussed on that personal foul. You think that changed their situation down by the goal line, because they were in the classic, the ball's on the 1 yard line, we're gonna snap it back to Aaron Rodgers, and they with no like play action or anything.
And that was an early injury, so I might pull back just a little bit on what I said.
But you figure the guy. So they did the Seahawks. I don't know if that was a call play or if that was an Aaron Rodgers play, but
oh my goodness,
a lot of people say, man, I hate slant patterns on the goal. You don't really see that anymore. Slant patterns anymore on the goal line. You typically see those little, like the Saints run, where they'll run the guy behind the other two receivers and push in or something like that. Or, the typical
a natural
fade.
pick.
Right. You'll see something like that. You don't really see the slant pattern. And I'm guessing because if hands do get involved, the ball gets batted, something like that.
Right.
Yeah, it was like,
it's
got to be quick, right?
And to be honest, on second down, there's no need for it, especially when the back just ran for like 4 yards on first down.
Yeah.
There's no need for you to try to fire this ball in when you got 3 more downs to get it in. And you're at home, you know what I'm saying? So, that was a little...
First of all, I was thoroughly entertained by the game. I mean, on a Thursday night, and a lot that was at stake for the Eagles, and Green Bay trying to prove they're worthy of being undefeated. But the thing that struck me, like leading up to the game, how many people kind of wrote the Eagles off, and I'm like, well, you gotta add in the fact that there's a desperation factor in in the NFL, and the Green Bay, it's a short week, but Green Bay is kind of sitting on hey, maybe we think we're better than we really are.
Yeah.
Eagles basically looking at staring with their season on the line in terms of the division and falling too far behind. So it was clear that they came in with that desperation. Now when they were down 10-0, I was kind of like, well, here we go again with this slow start. But they had the big return that kind of shifted everything around, and they just kind of hung in there.
Yeah.
They played the full
they were
game.
fighting. They kept fighting.
They played the full game, and funny things happen in an NFL game. Adams goes out, and all of a sudden, turnover. They had 3 sacks all season or something like that.
Yeah.
And then Barnett gets that sack, and
when they try to block him with a tight end, by the way.
Right, exactly. And then the big stand on the goal line. I mean, I think the Eagles, I was not shocked by the fact that the Eagles came out, gritted out a tough win, and they're like, hey, we ain't not so fast. We're here for the long haul. So that was a good win by
football
them.
team. Eagles are a good football team.
Definitely. I want to take a look at another team in the NFC, the New York Giants, and Daniel Jones, Danny Dimes, Dan Chives.
Okay. I like it.
Daniel's son. He debuted against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and had a pretty good showing. I mean, being a rookie, he threw 2 touchdowns, ran a couple in, the game winner.
Yeah, rallied the team.
Yeah, and then had a benefit of a poor kicking and a shank. And
did he really win the game?
He gave him the lead. He gave him the lead. When he left the field, they were winning.
They were winning. Okay.
When he left the field, they were winning. Moving forward. And what do you think of the young man? It was a lot of talk when he was drafted. He was booed, kind of McNabb-ish.
I was one of them.
From Carolina. I was like, I didn't even know his record, whatever. Him playing. I was like, is this another Trubisky thing or what's going on? But he was in the Manning camp and had the Manning blessing, and it's brought some athleticism to that Giants pocket that they haven't had in a while, and played strong. What do you guys think?
I'll admit I was one of the guys who said I don't know about this guy. Yeah. It was because the things he were doing in college, you can find that in a whole lot of places. But there is something that is said about the player putting their work into their craft.
Yep.
And I think he's one of these guys. I watched him throw the football, throws a great football. And sometimes, no matter what the sport, some guys are better off in the pros than they are for college.
Right.
So that's one of the things where I think that benefited him. And kudos to the Giants. They pulled their Hall of Famer, right? They said, okay, obviously we see something in practice. We drafted this guy high. Eli's not taking us to a Super Bowl.
Again, yeah.
Right. So let's make this move. And they did it. And
yeah,
it looks great moving forward.
Yeah, I think the thing was with Saquon, they thought Saquon could be as Terrell Davis for one more run. It's like they loaded up with free agents on defense and got Saquon and said, look, we're going to give him a running game and try to play action off that. We had a great wide receiver, but he didn't. They moved on from that. They said, look, we're going to start again. We're going to move the mercurial wide receiver. We're going to all these drafts that didn't work and all this high-paid defensive talent. We're going to move on from that and bite the dust and try to rebuild. And you start with getting offensive linemen. They made a trade and got Cleveland's best offensive lineman. You can see how that's working out for them. And moving forward to protect your commodity, the sixth pick in the draft, Daniel Jones, and he looked good. He looked good. He looked like the saying. It didn't look too big for him. Like it's never.
He belongs, right?
Yeah, like he looked like he definitely belongs there. But definitely on the other side was Saquon went down with a high ankle sprain.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Yeah, and he's a great player. Just watch him playing.
That's why you gotta give up the money, man.
Yeah.
Hey, I would say like on Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
I was impressed. I was impressed. So I'm not a Giants fan, so I didn't boo the guy. I don't know who the guy is. You know what I mean? It's not my team. So, but I was impressed, and I was impressed in preseason. But of course, everybody's gonna say, it's preseason. Yeah. That guy's be bagging groceries next month. You know what I mean? But it's still pro caliber players. Yeah. And he didn't just play well; he played great.
He played the best. He was the best.
He didn't just play okay. Right. Yeah. He was outstanding. But it's the preseason. So now when he started the game, and it's like I wanna see what he do. I was focused on this game because I want to see what this guy can do.
Daniel Jones, right?
Daniel Jones, right? And I was impressed. And then, but of course you'll hear people, that was Tampa Bay. Okay, but Tampa Bay played like a few more games before this, and everybody that played Tampa Bay didn't play like this. Number one, and then number two,
he was on the road.
His first start. Number two, your best offensive player went down early in this game, and he still produced. You know what I mean? He looked great. And if I were a Giants fan, and as a Cowboys fan, I was actually watching the game and like kind of being like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? You don't want your rival to hit on a quarterback. You know what I mean? You want to have give me a little gap of Colt McCoys and Case Keenums. Give me a little bit of that.
Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about that next.
But hey man, the kid looked really good, man. He looked really good. And if I was a Giants fan, I would be super encouraged.
Yeah, I think with Daniel Jones, like you said, what he was doing in college, I think it's a difference when you get drafted to a team that you possibly can start that year. So I think your preparation, when you go into training camp, when you go on I think it's just a little bit different from when you backing up Breeze, and he's only 30, So I think it's a little different. You backing up Brady and he's only 30. Like I know it's a little different when you backing up Eli. Eli should have been benched last year or 2 years ago. So I think he already went in it knowing that he had to put that work in, because my number's going to get called. And I know his dad was telling his number going to get called. We always would be on our child. Like, you starting soon.
Stay ready.
So I think that's what
you gotta kind of think too that the Mannings had to say something about it. He's been to he's an alumni of the Manning passing camp. We all know that most of the elite quarterbacks go there, and they had to, say to management some kind of way, hey, man, this guy, he picks up stuff. He came this year, he came back the next year, and he was like
definitely
2 steps ahead of where he were the year before. You know what I mean? You tell him something, he picks it up. What I mean? The same way with the Cowboys with Jalen Smith, because their doctor did the surgery. It's like, hey, this guy's going to recover. Where other teams are thinking, we don't know if he's going to recover.
Right.
Cowboys had a little inside info, and I think that same thing had to happen with the Giants because this guy, man, He looks like the real deal.
Yeah.
You take, Duke. I don't know how well they did. I know they were like in bowl games when he was there.
Yeah.
So for Duke football, that's like national championship worthy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's kind of like Vanderbilt with Jay Cutler.
Yeah.
Some of these teams when they come from nowhere and they start making a little bit of noise and going to bowl games, somebody's there as a player.
Right.
I think Duke just beat Virginia Tech 45-17.
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, man, this guy, he didn't have 5-star talent around him in college, on either side of the ball. So,
New record, definitely.
I like the guy, man. I'm glad. I like to see guys when they come into the league under this type of scrutiny and nobody wants them and everybody's booing him. I like to see those guys succeed, whether it's my team or not.
Right.
Just because.
Beat the odds.
And he's been a professional, and that'll lead on to another conversation a little bit later. Let's jump into the other side of the spectrum. The Redskins, Washington.
They're close to making the transition too.
I don't know. But here's the situation. They talk about, you look at Daniel Snyder, you look at Gruden, and you look at the Trent Williams situation, and you look at the quarterback Haskins. Now the talk is the Redskins have 2 war rooms that they did. The coach didn't want Haskins. That was more of an owner's pick. So, you got Case Keenum in there, and Case Keenum is probably not going to, the future, most likely, especially when you take a quarterback that high.
Right.
He's just so the question is, when. And now you have a whole organizational question because your best blocker to protect your quarterback, Trent Williams, wants nothing to do with the organization. He doesn't trust the doctors. I don't understand why they don't trade him. And you can just I don't know if you guys saw the clip on Monday night, the guy with the Gatorade.
Yeah, stirring with cups.
Yeah, he was stirring it with the plastic cup, sleeve of plastic cups.
I heard about that.
Yeah. So it looks like they need a overhaul the whole organization.
I mean,
like nobody cares. I mean, that's the vibe that you get when the guy with the cups was like, look, he might as well stir it with his arm. So he was like, the heck with it. But it's interesting. And the Redskins seem to have not been able to get it straight. And I guess it falls on Snyder. And, Dan Snyder's born in 1964, so he's like 5 years older than me. So he's a young guy. He's been there for a while, and he's only 55.
Right.
So what do you think about the Redskins situation?
Dysfunctional. And it's almost kind of like cliche over the last 10 years with them. It's always something with them. And this is just one of those issues where it makes the organization look bad because you have all this dysfunction in the way that it's playing out. The way I can kind of see where it's going, it's if Jay Gruden is going to continue to stay in the way of this kid starting, and the team continues to perform the way they have, well, Jay Gruden's going to be removed out of the way. And then the next person is going to come in with the directive to, hey, let's see what the future looks like with this kid. Trent Williams, he's probably content with just kind of chilling and just kind of just saying, let me stay out of the fray. Yeah. This is a fiasco. I won't look good stepping into this mess. And, I don't know what, trade prospects could be for him, but I think he wants to get as far away from this mess as possible. It's just an ugly situation for them, but it's kind of been the norm for the Skins for the last, probably 10 years. I mean, it was promising, last year when they had the good start and then Alex Smith went down.
Alex Smith got hurt.
That was unfortunate, but these things happen. But then, under that type of adversity, when your organization is dysfunctional, when you have bad fortune like that, it just gets magnified when you don't have a good structure in place. So they're in a tough spot right now. But the kid's going to start, I think, sooner rather than later, and it might be at the expense of the coach too.
I was told they like the coordinator, so he may move into position once they get rid of Jay. I was told the coordinator is someone they really like as a guy. So.
Yeah. Well, there's been McVay was a coordinator there, and McVay moved on, and somebody else was a coordinator. Kyle Shanahan was a coordinator, and they're two of the hottest young coaches.
And so was LaFleur.
And LaFleur was there, and he's moved on.
Right.
So the offensive coordinators for the Redskins are moving on, and people are picking them off. And you still have Gruden there. Is it a Manning thing, like the Gruden name? Is that why he's held on a little bit longer than you think he should? Because when your underlings go to the Super Bowl, people kind of start looking like, oh, this guy was here, and now he's at this. Now he's gotten a young quarterback, developed them, working with them, and they're moving towards the Super Bowl and got to the Super Bowl. And we're here. We want you to do the same thing with the young quarterback. You're kind of reluctant. What do you guys think? Is he Gruden? Just his name has kept him around for a little bit longer.
Dre used a great word. He said dysfunction. So when owner or coach or coordinator, if all that stuff is just not on the same page, or quarterback is like, where are you going?
Yeah.
You just putting the Band-Aid on a wound right now, which is not gonna withstand the injury, and the owner cuts the checks.
Right.
So whenever he feels disgruntled or something is not going to happen the way it's supposed to be, or is looking a certain way, then somebody's going to get removed.
Yep.
We know sitting here, and we are not getting paid from one of the best private organizations in the world, which is the NFL. We know that Mr. Snyder, he has a track record for doing some shuffling. A quarterback was drafted. He's going to play. Why he is going to play is because he's looking like that he is probably, if not now, better than the starter that's there. It's looking like it's coming. It's a transition period that's happening in the NFL right now, and we just talked about a few quarterbacks that has happened to, and the Redskins are on deck. So where they go and what they got going on, I think that everybody needs to just move forward, and it'll help, because the struggles are going to stay there until you make, the decision you need to.
Yeah, and I guess it starts with Snyder. I mean, this kind of reminds me of the Cowboys from the years after Jimmy left for them 10 years. Yeah. Like when Jerry was trying to run everything and make decisions and prove that he was a football genius. Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go out on the limb on this one and say if they lose this week, Gruden's out.
Yeah.
They play the Giants
early.
They play the Giants,
and that young quarterback does well too.
Right. So Snyder will be sitting there at the game. He'll see their young quarterback, and if they lose.
Without Saquon,
that means he will have to play well, right? So if they lose to this guy, they lose to this team who's been beaten on like a drum, except for last week, and the offense looks terrible. I think Gruden will be out, and then I think another thing is like you're the Redskins, you're 0-3, right? If I'm not mistaken, they're not going anywhere. Yeah. Why am I wasting a year with a young quarterback where he could be learning and losing.
Yeah.
We could be losing while he's learning.
Right. Because you're losing anyway.
While we losing. Pretty much learning, I'm sure he's learning, but he's not learning like he was.
Yeah, you got to play.
Playing, right? So if you're the Redskins, you're losing. He's not learning. We got these journeymen in there. My left tackle's not happy. My left tackle might be sitting back like, man, look at this crap. Yeah. Why would I come in there? We got a young dude. They not gonna play. They're gonna play these journeymen. We still gonna lose. Yeah. What's the point? You know what I mean? Let me look at how much they pay Case Keenum. He got to be making at least $10 million as a start quarterback. Yeah. That's $10 million they could have been paying me to protect the young dude. You know what I'm saying? Right, so if I'm Trent Williams, I'm thinking the same thing. You know what I mean? But so I think if they lose to the Giants this week, with Daniel Jones in the game, without Saquon Barkley, and Haskins, I'm pretty sure by the end of this week he'll play. Like I heard Colt McCoy might be starting this week, but I think Gruden's out of there, man. I think he's out of there. What has he done for him to stay? Who has he developed? What has he done? They got a young quarterback. They got a young receiver that looks good, right? They got a young running back.
He developed coordinators.
And he'll be back. But
he's a coordinator developer.
What else do they have?
Yeah, I mean, I think the same thing too. I'm like you got to make a move. I mean, you got to go on with the future. You start the regular season, you want to say, okay, we don't want to we're throwing in the towel, but we need to work in the youth to see exactly what we have to do so we can learn.
How long before Hurricane Josh Norman starts mouthing off about who's the quarterback?
He's been getting roasted.
He can't say much. He better lay low the way he been getting toasted.
We know common sense will say he shouldn't say.
He not even.
But they realize how much they paying him. He's just quiet. He's
maybe they won't even notice. I'm just gonna keep a low profile.
Right.
He's just better.
He's smart.
Yes.
Yeah, he's just keeping a low profile.
They don't notice them digits coming out the bank.
Yeah. Melvin Gordon's back.
Yeah.
He said, "Look, I'm coming back."
No fun on the couch, man.
Yeah, I think he should have took that $12 million. And came in. I don't know. I guess he waited till San Diego lose a couple games. Now I can kind of save face. I'm coming back to save my team.
Do we know who made the call? Like, did he say, "All right,
I'm coming in"? He said, "I'm coming in."
Dude, this has to be the worst holdout in the history of holdouts.
I don't understand.
What did you hold out for?
Like, I'm not showing up, and and then all of a sudden, you just call on a random, Tuesday, like, hey guys, what time do I need
What
to
is
be
this,
there?
week 4? So he saved. So basically, what did you get? I got 4 weeks less worth of wear and tear on my body.
Mm-hmm. But he lost
at the amount of $250,000 a week. So what? $1 million. Man.
Yeah, what he lost, what was with him was what he lost. Well, he ain't understand that I believe he is the best back out of the 3, but at the same time, they're not too far ahead of him. Like, he's not too far great.
The difference maker.
Yeah, he's not too far of a difference. So at the same time, we can afford to have you out. You not get yards, but he didn't even average the most yards per carry. But most the backups normally average more yards per carry because they're getting less touches. Yeah. But he I believe he's the best out of the 3, but it wasn't that much difference. Whereas though, y'all had to pay Zeke, had to pay him. Yeah. Whereas though he has 2 backs behind him that can actually play.
I agree with you.
And he's not as good as Zeke at the same time. So it's like you're not a top 5, and then you got people right behind you.
And you missed a lot of time.
Yeah. I agree with you because
the whole camp. When you missed the camp.
If any of us sit here, we ask a question right now and pose the question to anybody that's listening, and all of us sitting here, and we say, if you playing the San Diego Chargers, who's the first offensive person that comes to your mind? Phillip Rivers. Who's the second? Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
And then it's Melvin Gordon.
Yeah.
And if San Diego Chargers understand the same thing.
Yeah.
They understand the same thing. They know that they've played in games and won games without him.
You might not say it's Melvin Gordon. You might say, so that's it.
But the thing about it is,
somebody else might get off.
Right? I don't want to, take away from his talent. He's a good back.
Yeah.
I think he's one of the best backs in the league, but it's what are you worth to that organization? Zeke to the Cowboys was worth a lot more than Melvin Gordon to the Chargers. You know what I'm saying? Phillip Rivers been doing it for years with LaDainian Tomlinson, after LaDainian Tomlinson left, right? Without Melvin Gordon, with Melvin Gordon. So if we can just get a serviceable back in here, and if I'm San Diego's management, I'm not worried about Melvin Gordon.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're going to pay him, and I think he realized that I don't think they're going to pay him. I don't think they're going to franchise him at $12, $13 million a year next year.
You think he walks?
So he's just going. I agree, and I think he's out of there. So I think he needed to come in and play because he didn't have. The only thing you're going to do is lose $5 million.
And then if he does, like, just say he did sit out the whole year. Like, what is somebody going to do to him next year? They're going to say, okay, well, I'm going to give you $5 million when you prove yourself. Then we'll go to you. You understand what I'm saying?
So yeah, he'll get a.
So you might as well just.
What is it? A Mark Ingram type contract?
Right.
Maybe a little more.
Right.
I maybe giving $6 a year.
So he came in because he felt he had to show and prove. Is that what you're saying?
I just think
I always thought he had to show and prove to get big money.
I think he came in because you see Eckler, who's his backup, putting in good numbers, and then he starts to, I think when you see a backup putting in good numbers, nobody regards Eckler as one of the best backs in the league.
Right.
So if Eckler's putting up these kind of numbers and this type of production, I should say that passing and running the ball, if he's doing these things, that would have to diminish what people feel about Melvin Gordon in their mind, because this guy just came in and he's doing virtually the same thing.
Right.
So are you that good, or are you a product that has been playing with Phillip Rivers?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're not. Like I watched a little breakdown of Le'Veon Bell, who, if you look at his numbers, you'll say, man, he's not doing much. But when you look a little deeper into the breakdown, you like, man, this dude is phenomenal.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
To get what he's getting behind this line,
absolutely,
he's phenomenal. So it's like, is Melvin Gordon that guy? I don't know. Nah, I don't think so.
We got some shout outs.
Oh, shout him out.
We got Mr. Tommy Johnson.
Okay.
We got cousin Ursula.
Hey, cuz.
Roberto Lombardi, Mr. Sunni Babar. I want to say you're over in, I could be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, over in Saudi Arabia.
Oh, cool.
Mr. Oria Jennings, Buddy, Jason Hicks,
friend of the show,
Winters,
the you,
Gray Harris, Annette Price, Lee Powell, Ronald Solomon, GCC, Anada McPherson, JJ Styling out in University of Arkansas. What's up? Miss Katrina Squire.
Hey, Miss Katrina.
Julia Gifford.
How you doing?
The wife, Relena Jennings.
Hey, Relena, wifey, love you.
Demetrius. Okay, we see your Go Eagles, man. We there.
You know.
Helen Watson, how are you?
Aunt Helen, how you
Mr.
doing?
David Harper.
Hey, cuz.
Thanks for joining. Valerie Davis.
Miss
Miss
Davis.
Danielle Zakami,
Yep.
3HS alum. Thanks for joining.
Definitely. Let's take a look at week 4. We got week 4 coming up. We got some matchups up there. It's going to be an interesting week. You get through like the quarter of the season. I'm going to jump in. And I want to go to this real quick. It's going out in order. This matchup right here. This is the matchup I want to talk about. Do we believe? I mean, do we believe? Do we believe? Buffalo undefeated. New England Patriots. They run that division. They just run it. They just run the division. Do we believe that Buffalo is a legitimate threat to New England this year? Or New England's going to go out there and blow them out like they do?
All I say is this. What would you do? Would you put money on it?
No, I wouldn't put no money on
So
Buffalo.
that probably tells you.
Sorry,
what's
Jim
up.
Lockett. Jim Lockett's my friend, a big Buffalo native, Buffalo Bills fan. Endured the 4 straight Super Bowl losses.
I would love to see, because I'm an underdog guy. You know,
Yeah.
go in, you 3-0, make some noise up there.
Right.
But you know, let's look at who we're talking about. We're talking about New England. We're talking about Buffalo.
I think it'll be. I mean, my first inclination is just to do the big eye roll. Like, yeah, right. But you know, it's a good game for Buffalo to gauge as sort of as a measuring stick.
Yeah.
They can answer this question for themselves.
Yeah.
I immediately say no freaking way that they have a chance. But hey, they go up there. I mean, it's football, and they go up there and they have a lot to prove because a lot of people feel like I do.
Yeah.
And so they go up there. They have a lot to prove. All right, let's see. You know, because make me a doubter.
Right.
Make me. You know, is this division in play or not? I doubt it, but you can make a statement this week to kind of give us some doubt to whether whether the reign of the Patriots is kind of in jeopardy. But you know, it's going to be a big statement game for them. If you know, it means way more to the Buffalo Bills than it does to the Patriots.
Because it's looking like that typical Patriots 10-game season. You know, 6 games against the AFC East, which they may be double-digit favorites at home in all of them, and then you play the 10 games you play, and you go 7-3, maybe a bad year 6-4 or 5-5, and you get home field advantage, 2 playoff games at home, and you get a chance to go to the Super Bowl. That's how it's been. But the question is, early in the season, Buffalo maybe can set a tone here. Believe it or not.
Yeah. The thing I don't think it'll be the end of the dynasty. I don't think the dynasty is in jeopardy. But like you said, I think it's definitely a bigger game for Buffalo. You know, and it's the game where, all right, I think we all will bet with New England. So
Yeah.
With that being said, how much do you feel like Buffalo has to lose by to concede to be still contenders?
Yeah.
If they lose by 3, if they lose by 7, if it's 24-17, do we still look at Buffalo as maybe they are here?
Yeah.
You know, because you can be here and still lose to the Patriots.
Yeah.
Great point.
You know, so
I don't see Buffalo as here.
Listen, realistically,
I think they got a good team with a developing young quarterback, but I mean, come on, man. Frank Gore is your lead running back.
Yeah.
But
realistically,
no Frank Gore, man. But
realistically,
he's 50 out there.
If they can be winning this game from beginning and New England kicks a field goal to sneak out, then Buffalo might be respectable.
Frank Gore's trying to catch Barry Sanders on rushing yards.
But
still, then,
I'm going to talk about it next week.
If you look at that game, I mean, if you look at this game, and you know the Patriots are the Patriots, so we like to think that they're perfect and they don't overlook any opponent.
Right.
They don't but come on, man, the Patriots gotta be, as much as Bill Belichick is telling them that Buffalo's trying to take the East from you. You know how great Buffalo is. You can't tell me if you're a Patriots player that's been there for a few years, you're not saying, It's Buffalo week. You know,
Oh, absolutely.
Kind of like we used to say as a
The record's for itself.
Nah, I'm just playing. But I'm just saying, you know, you can't tell me that. So if Buffalo were to come in and give these guys a fight,
Right.
and like you said, we just looked at a stat a few weeks ago where how Miami typically beats the Patriots down there
Right.
in Miami.
Yeah.
Right.
Have we ever thought that Miami arrived because they beat the Patriots?
Yeah.
No. So I
Great
mean,
points.
Buffalo. While I like the quarterback, man, I saw week 1 they struggled against the Jets. Struggled against the Jets, and they actually didn't get anything going on offense until C.J. Mosley went out, the middle linebacker. And I mean, it's Buffalo, man. I mean, they got a lot of proving to do.
Yeah.
This is a good first step. You mean?
But it was
It's
saying,
a measuring stick. You
That's what
got
I'm saying.
sometimes you got to find out who you are.
If they lose 21,
you know what I mean?
if they lose 21-24, do we look at them as
I still won't look at them. They got a lot of. They got to be able. They got to win. They got to beat the Patriots. You know, in December. Now, division on the line. You know, it's cold.
Right.
The Patriots have been here plenty of times. Okay, Buffalo, show me what you got. Now, you know, when you get in December or whatever, and they beat the Patriots, or they play the Patriots down to the wire, and you know Brady leaves a field goal drive at the end to win the game. Now you might say, "Hey, Buffalo may give somebody a problem in the playoffs."
Yeah.
But until then, nah,
Nah,
not at all.
The other game I want to take a look at, the Vikings going to Chicago.
Should be a toughie.
The Vikings have totally reached. Zimmer's got exactly what he wants. Zimmer wants 35 carries for Cook and about 10 to 15 passes.
What year is this that we're in?
Yeah, 85.
I mean,
Yeah, we're back.
you know, they got rid of the offensive coordinator last season, toward the end of the season, because he felt it was too much passing going on. Zimmer's the defensive coordinator. He wants an offense to complement his defense. Interesting enough, and said, "Look, we got Cook, this kid coming off of ACL. We took him, and he's proven to be, an explosive, dominant runner. Let me use him and develop that dominant run game, play defense, and play action. I have a quarterback that still make plays." And you're going into Chicago, and I think this is a game where you're going to need Kirk Cousins to make some plays, because that's been the thing on Kirk Cousins. Is like, okay, we gave you $84 million. You got nice stats, but there's winning time and there's losing time. And we got the ball in your hand as a quarterback. We need you to make plays for winning time. So what do you guys think of this matchup?
You put, everything that you said, I was just about to go there, okay? So the Bears they have a stout defense. We know that nobody's going to run down their throat. They're not going to do all this. We got Mac. We got a solid defense, okay? But on the other side, we got a guy who's been guaranteed $84 million. And how about you go there and you sneak a win out offensively? So we can say, as fans, all right, then maybe the money was worth it. You know, because the Super Bowl might be a little bit, too far to say that he can win. But you want to see quarterbacks that have been paid to win against stout defenses, so it can make it look like you are worth
To be a
money
difference
at least.
maker.
Well, I think they stick to the script. I mean, I think they stick to the formula of trying to run the ball. Don't go there. Don't try to make Cousins, try to go win the game by itself.
Yeah.
He's gonna have to make some plays on like that 3rd and 3. To keep the chains moving and make a throw, maybe in a tight window or something like that. But, I don't think you go out here and say, hey, go throw 30 passes. And, look at the other side of the ball with the Bears. I'm not a believer in Trubisky. I think, and I think the Bears offense plays way too conservative to me. So my point is, I think the Vikings are going to be in this game. I think that this game is going to get away from them. It shouldn't get away from them unless they have a whole bunch of turnovers. So you should be able to run the ball, stick to the script, and then maybe if it comes down in the fourth quarter, you got to make a key 3rd down or put yourself in field goal range or whatever. I see it as a field goal game, and I'm not going to. Yeah, Cousins has to make some plays, but I'm not going to, kind of give everything over to him. Not this game. I don't think it's necessary. I think you can play it kind of closer to the vest, stick to what you've been doing because you're going to be in the game. Because the Bears' offense doesn't really thrill me.
I feel like Dre on this one. I feel like the bigger thing is not really Cousins, because we already know, based on his track record, the Bears have a winning record right now. He's going to lose. But I think the Vikings D, the Vikings D, if they can play up to their potential, like you said, Trubisky and the Bears offense doesn't scare anybody, right? So if the Vikings D can keep them off the field, you know, control the game that way, I think you should have a defensive struggle, close 3-point game, like Dre said. But I think if the Vikings D can hold Chicago down offensively, then you're going to have that close game. That's, you know, whoever has the ball last, try to make a play in the end to win it.
When we going to be looking for the $27 million man, right?
Yeah. Versus because we know the Bears defense is going to show up.
Yeah.
Right.
We know the Bears defense is going to show up. And we know that Zimmer's not going to put the ball in the Kirk Cousins' hands against this Bears defense. He's going to try to run the ball. Nobody's been able to run the ball in the Bears defense anyway. So I think they play it like Dre says, stick to the script. We're going to pound Dalvin Cook. If we go 3 yards, and punt, then that's what we go. You know, occasionally we might go for 1 or 2, but if that's what we do, then that's what we're going to do. We're going to play field position. We're going to play sound defense to try to win the game. We're not going to put the ball in Kirk Cousins' hands and tell him to win this game. In my opinion,
let's keep
see
it.
that.
I think we're going to find out who the second and third string running back is this weekend. At least to give him a break.
Oh, definitely. The other matchup, the Ravens and Browns.
Got my eye on this one.
Definitely early AFC battle, AFC North Division battle between the Ravens and Browns. Trying to set a message early. 2 quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson and your man Baker Mayfield.
I love it.
So you're talking about the division, who wants to step up and be the quarterback in that division. Interesting thing when you talk about these two things, and you talk about Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns. Now, Baker has been in a Twitter war. When I talk about being a professional, Baker's been he's been in the
I read it this morning.
He's been in a Twitter beef with Rex Ryan. And he's in a Twitter beef. How can you beef
right now
with AB, like Antonio Brown? He's not even.
He's not working.
He's not even working. Like he's unemployed.
He got all day. You can't win.
You can't win when somebody's unemployed. Like
he was the one with Skip too.
Remember your uncle put you in a headlock back in the day?
So Baker Mayfield, man. Please let me jump in.
Go jump in.
So me personally, I don't have a problem with a loudmouth teammate.
Yeah.
I typically don't like it in my quarterback, but you know, one of my good friends and foes through the years, he was a loudmouth quarterback. My man Joe Meyer, Penwood, dude. I know he's listening, right? But if you're gonna be a loudmouth quarterback or any position, you need to back it up.
Yeah, you gotta be
production,
baby.
You need to back
Production.
it up. So right now, the way the Browns have looked, Baker Mayfield needs to keep his mouth shut. Get in the film room, get on the practice field, put up some numbers,
win some games,
and then he can talk all he wants. Win some games, and then he can talk all he wants. But right now, the way he's playing, the way that team looks, for all the hype they got in the offseason, all of the, who's going to be able to stop him? We got Chubb, we got Landry, we got Beckham with his watch, and all of Daniel Jones, he stinks.
That one ain't catch was nice though. That one ain't catch was nice on the sideline.
How did they take him number 6? He stinks. But Daniel Jones in one game has better numbers than Baker Mayfield in 3.
Yeah.
So, he needs to worry about his own business. Stop focusing on what everybody's saying about him or saying to him or anything like that. And just play ball. You know what I'm saying?
And that's my point when you talk about being a professional and that from the quarterback position. Lamar Jackson, he should be a wide receiver. You look at Dak Prescott, when he played quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, he's going to be overpraised and you're going to be talked about. The whole circuit was, the whole tone was, he's not worth $40 million. He asked for $40 million. There's no way he's worth $35 million. Everybody say that every week on every show because the Cowboys are popular. So we got to talk about the Cowboys, and one person's going to be against and one person's going to be for. We know the format. And so, but your quarterback, your franchise quarterback, doesn't get involved in that social media stuff. I got to focus on winning games. That's all. When I win these games, that's all I need to say. I don't need, if an analyst says, "Oh, I'm overrated," I'm just dinking and dacking and doing all that. there's no need to jump in and from the quarterback position because that's a position of leadership.
Yeah.
We all focused in on winning. I don't care what do they say. They're not in this locker room, so they don't matter.
Right.
So what matters is the 53 men on this roster.
Right.
That do you believe in me and we can get this done.
Hey, listen, it's simple sometimes, and it's just as simple as this. You can't win by yourself.
Yeah.
Right? You just can't do it. There's no way possible that you can win by yourself.
Not in
as
this
far as
sport.
Dak, as far as Dak, you know, like what's the last time I checked? What's Dallas's record?
3-0.
I mean, so why do I have to speak to anyone? Like, I don't have to speak to anybody.
And I mean, like even with you figure this game right here is they like opposite components, right? So you got Lamar Jackson who was, hey, this guy can't play, he can't do it, he can't do this, he can't do that. And then you got Mayfield, number one pick, Heisman Trophy winner. He should be doing these things. And this guy is like, this guy is just he just doesn't get it right now. I mean, even like everybody loved last year when they played Cincinnati and they won and he ran over to the sideline and did whatever he did to Hugh Jackson. Come on, man. Come on, man. Be a pro. Be a pro.
Yeah.
Play ball. Leave everybody else's business out of your mouth. Just play ball. Just do what you're supposed to do, man, and that's it.
And I don't need all this out of my quarterback. I mean, let's face it.
Yeah.
The quarterback holds a different status.
Yeah,
in
it's
the
extension of
organization.
management.
They're middle management. And so I leave all the bickering and beefing up to the defensive backs, the receivers. Those are the guys. Those are the guys that are designated for that, and they need to do that with a chip on their shoulder. I need my quarterback to be focused on the game plan, focused on what he needs to do to lead his locker room and his men. Because everybody's looking to the quarterback. If we're going to get to where we need to go, my quarterback's got to be on point. So you got to hold yourself in a higher regard and represent yourself that way. And especially if you haven't really done anything yet. And so this is a big game for Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
I quite
Probably his
honestly,
biggest, right?
I would like to see, I would like to see the Browns face a little more adversity. Not to say I'm rooting for the Ravens, but I mean, hey, a loss night, for the Browns now, you go 1-3.
put pressure on them.
Now it's
A lot
like,
of
all right,
pressure.
well, hey, y'all were given a lot before y'all earned anything.
Yeah.
So now let's
And it's
talk
inspiring,
and
and it's inspiring the other teams. Dre, you talk about playing, the Eagles playing with desperation, Eagles playing with a purpose. Once you get that added oomph into it, like Merrill Hodge said when we looked on the film, the effort people would look to make to hit Bosworth. Even after I pancake my guy, he's on the ground. Let me go see what Bosworth is doing.
Exactly. So you bring that on yourself and you're the Browns and you're talking all this talk, right? So this is the one thing I like about Brady. Brady keeps a chip on his shoulder, but you never know it.
Yeah.
You may know it after the game because he may say something subliminally to address it, but you'll never know it.
in his
But
locker
he
room,
plays
but
with
his
it.
locker
Hey,
room,
listen,
They know it, right?
When somebody catches that touchdown pass, he runs to get that ball. Watch how hard that spike is.
So you think the Baltimore Ravens wasn't sitting back knowing that they won the division last year,
got this
right?
circle.
They won the division, but all everybody's talking about is the Cleveland stinking Browns who haven't won anything.
Yeah.
All they talking about, we
Been
lost
the bottom
Suggs,
seed
we
forever.
lost Mosley, we lost this guy, and they're picking the Browns. The Browns,
Oh.
and then we got to listen to this quarterback talk all off season about who you going to stop, what you going to do.
Hey, listen, you
kidding
coming
me?
into hostile territory and you're supposed to be somebody when I know you're really not nobody, I had to knock you out.
Yeah, it's one thing
That's
about
up on the board.
It's one thing about what he brings, like far as his mouth and everything. I always liked a quarterback with like that fire, the gunslinger. I always liked the Brett Favre, the Phillip Rivers, even Jake Cutler. Like I always liked that somebody had that energy.
Dude, they're competitors. They all
Yeah,
got
right,
it.
I always liked that somebody had that
They just
energy.
don't have to tell everybody about it.
But the way he does it is a little different than the way they bring that energy. Like you knew that they were coming to war. Like Jay Cutler, they told Jay Cutler he threw 20 interceptions. He said, I may throw 22 next year.
But
Like,
see, that to me, that's the difference, right? So with them guys, they had it. They all had that chip. They didn't show it. To me, the way he acts is kind of like insecurity.
right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm insecure in how good I am. I'm insecure in my team. So I need to go and show this person up when I do something. I need to go and say something back to this person when this happens. Versus, you know what? I'm just going, hey man, whatever you say.
Right.
Yeah, you don't involved in social
First of
media.
all, you let me know that
That is getting to you.
It's something getting to you.
Well, he's Twitter born, so you know he got, the skin
you
is
scrolling
like
in your bed after practice late night, and you scrolling
and worried about me.
What
See
you
what's
doing?
going on?
Like, what you doing? Is Netflix on? There's a whole bunch of other stuff.
You could be studying the playbook.
Yeah. You could be watching film.
You could be figuring out other ways to get the ball to Beckham and Landry.
Yeah. And you know, when they force you to one direction and working on that in practice, you know, when they try to force you left and don't let you go right, because that's the scouting report on him right now.
Pretty much.
You know, make him go left, and you know you should be rolling left with your receivers after practice. Yeah. How about that?
I'll tell you another thing too, man. I think it's a big game for Jackson as well. I think every game is a big game for Jackson. He has to go out and prove it.
Yeah.
Because every week it'll be well, they only played these people. Or
they waiting for the fall.
His completion percentage was this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And especially after he made the comment after the
because he's raw talent.
The one game where he said, you know, pretty good for a running back.
Yeah.
You know, so now also you let the world know that you listening.
Yeah.
You know, you got rabbit ears, so you listening to these things, which we all know you listening.
Yeah.
We know everybody's listening, and we hear what gets said about us.
Yeah.
Right? They hear what they get said about them. We all know that. But when you comment on it, you let it be known that bothered you, that got to you. You think about it. You know what I mean? So now what happens when you go forward and you start to play bad, those people that you commented at, they come even harder.
Yeah.
And now we know, and especially now because they know you listening.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They know you listening to what they're saying. So he has to continue to produce. And I like, you know, he's not conventional, but he's been productive. And last week showed me a lot. I wanted to see what Baltimore would look like when they got down. Yeah. You know, when they couldn't play from ahead with a lead. How would he do? And you know, he fared pretty well. You know, kept them in the game. They had a shot. But you know, I'm interested to see going forward how he looks. You know, how he plays. You know, 3 or 4 games doesn't make a career. You know what I'm saying? So
definitely.
As well as the season started this year, it could turn out to be the worst season ever. Yeah. Because you got 12 more games left to play.
Yep.
Right.
So that's what I'm looking forward to seeing that too.
Yeah, it could definitely be a good one. I think that's one of the key matchups this week. Definitely with just everything around it. The Ravens defending AFC North champs. Cleveland kind of crown, like they're going to take it. And
go ahead and beat yourself up, and then we going to get right, and then everything will make sense.
That's Steeler Nation right there, fellas. People out there. Definitely move on. What I want to jump into, about 25 days away to start, of the association.
It's coming, whether you like it or not.
I knew Dre was here for a reason.
The association. Definitely the NBA, they had media day this week. A lot of moves are made in the off season. A lot of teams have got their 2 superstars. I think this is one of the most anticipated NBA seasons in a long time.
No doubt.
Especially here in Philadelphia and Sixers Nation, with a lot of people looking at the Sixers as a possible representative of the East going to the NBA Finals. Definitely. They said the same thing about Boston last year. We know how that turned out. But moving forward, what's your anticipation of this NBA season, Dre?
It's open. I'm really excited. This is the first time in several years. I mean, let's think about what the last 3 years looked like. We knew who was going to represent in the championship. I mean, Golden State had a lock on the league. They had the dynasty. It was their success was well documented, and it was clear that going into the season, it was just a formality that they were going to be there representing the West, and they were going to be the best team. Going, anybody coming from the East wouldn't contend with them. Now, last year there was a little hiccup in the plan. Golden State got to where they needed to get to. Kawhi, after the big free agent signing in Toronto, and with everything hovering, is he going to stay? Is he going to go? He still stayed focused and performed and took his team to the title, faced Golden State. Golden State had the injuries, and it's a shame the way it went down, because it would have been interesting to see if Toronto still would have came out on top if Golden State was at full strength. But nonetheless, in the record books, Raptors are the champs. Kawhi has moved on. And now that's kind of opened up the East, particularly for the Sixers who, come in with a lot of expectations. The young boys have grown up. No more excuses. No more excuses for Embiid and Simmons. They're grown. They're grown.
And you got your money.
They're grown men now.
Yeah.
So now it's all
and
all
got their
out
extensions.
there. And got your money, and now it's all out there.
Grown awesome men.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah. So so Sixers are, I think you got to look at. Look, they got to be the favorite going in. Yeah. There's Milwaukee, but you got to look at locally. Looking at the Sixers. So that's intriguing from that standpoint. On the other end, you got teams out in the West. Now that Golden State, I mean, let's face it, they're champions and all that, but they're not going to be the same. They're going to be missing Clay for half the year. No Durant. Durant has moved on. Iguodala's a free agent. Well, no, he's with Memphis, but he's his situation is pending.
Yeah.
But so Golden State, I don't think they're going to be a factor. They won't be a factor. So that leaves the landscape in the West. That leaves a lot of other potential teams. You got that guy, Bron sitting out there, and I don't want to be. Far be it for me to doubt LeBron James. You know what I mean? He's proven, and they got AD. But I do question what kind of LeBron we will see and what other pieces they have around them outside of those two. You're asking LeBron. I'm not sure if he can carry the whole weight as he has in the past. I mean, eventually, Father Time catches up to you, and
absolutely.
LeBron can still be great. But man, you're talking about carrying a whole team, and AD is going to have to take some of that. But mind you, AD has not won anything, and so that's going to be a lot of weight on his shoulders. So there's a lot of interesting storylines. Houston now with their two duo now with Russell Westbrook and Harden. I'll be interested to see how that plays out with them playing together. I still have my questions. But a lot of little storylines.
What about Chris Paul? Is he going to? Where's they going? Are they?
He's in Miami, I believe. He's on his way.
Yeah.
I think he's on his way to Miami.
Okay, see, and maybe he'll get moved. So
a
lot of interesting storylines. I mean, I'm excited because the field is kind of open with obviously the Sixers kind of looking at contending for the big prize, but everything else is kind of open and a lot of interesting storylines. So it's going to be a long season, but it's going to play out like a nice. We don't necessarily know what the ending is going to be.
Right. Yeah. It's for me it's maybe 5 or 6 teams that the focus is on. It's all new blood, and we'll start with the Lakers. We know LeBron is LeBron. We said that he's old, but last we looked, it was 27, 8 and 8. He's a guy that you don't have to put the house on his shoulders. He can do so much that he doesn't have to score 30 a game. Because you have guys like AD that joined, and we saw the list of other players, the vets that were brought in. So we got to watch that. On the other side, locally, Philly, they have some pieces they're not a soft team. I mean, we know what Horford brings. We know what Embiid brings when he's healthy. There's some question marks in terms of Ben still shooting. They brought a new piece in, which I love.
Just needed to make free throws.
I love. Was it Richardson from Miami?
Yeah.
The verdict's still out on if he's going to be the 20-point a night guy just because of Ben's aggressiveness shooting the ball. You got Paul George and Kawhi coming to the Clippers.
That's right.
We know that it's a bunch of problems on the offensive and defensive end. Those guys can be both 28 and 28 guys a night.
Got Doc Rivers coaching them too.
Yeah, so you got a great coach. And then you got, which I'm going to be paying great attention to, is Westbrook and Harden. I mean, there's no question in it. They both can carry the organization. But now they're together.
Yeah.
And I believe, Doug, we were just speaking about this, how I think the thing that benefits more than doesn't benefit them is that they know each other. They don't have to figure anything out. They both LA guys. They've been knowing about each other since they were teenagers in high school. They're friends off the court. So I think it's some respect there, which is going to allow them to get the things done that they need to get done. And then lastly, Brooklyn was a good basketball team, right? They made the playoffs. They didn't have a talent like Kyrie. Kyrie's coming. We know who's coming the year after that.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, there's going to be some noise made. Kyrie's going to have a lot of freedom. He's from Jersey. He's on the East Coast. It's going to be a lot of swag. It's going to be a lot of what you going to do. We hear in the stands what's happening, and we need to see it. So I think I think it's a question mark on if you can do this for 82 games, right? And after that, I mean, let the chips fall where they may. But I do like Golden State still. Anytime you have a bunch of veterans who have won, they're not going to let you take anything from them. So it's going to be up to you whether, somebody is better than you to take it or not. And the teams that are probably going to try to take it from them and fall, they might have to do some reevaluating. Yep. But Golden State is there for the taking because they're getting older. They have 3 championships now. So
I'm excited just because it's wide open, like you guys mentioned. It's wide open. This is the first.
I've never seen this wide open.
Right.
Going back to the '80s, it wasn't this wide open.
This is the first year in a long time where we can't really say, "Hey, this team is going to the finals."
Yeah.
We knew Golden State was going to the finals last year. Outside of upset, we knew they were going.
A major injury.
You know what I'm saying? We knew in the East, we didn't know, right? So it made the East playoffs a bit more exciting. You had Milwaukee, you had Philly, you had Toronto, you had Boston. We didn't know who was coming out of there. We thought Boston when the season started. It didn't pan out that way.
But we thought they were just playing for second place anyway.
Right. We didn't think that whoever in the East could beat Golden State. We thought Golden State was coming out and would win. We were still intrigued by the Eastern Conference playoffs because we wanted to see the race and who was going to take the crown since now that LeBron is gone. And so it turned out to be great basketball. You know what I mean? Injuries happened and it turned out to be. Nobody feels sorry for Golden State because everybody knows they won their first title.
Everybody
with injuries happened.
A couple titles with injuries.
But now in the West, I think you got Golden State there. They lost a lot of pieces. Livingston was a big piece. Iguodala was a big piece. KD is of course a big piece, right? So you lost a lot of pieces there. And you got the Lakers, you got Houston, right? You got those teams. You got
Clay's
the Clippers,
hurt, so
right? Clay's hurt. You got the Clippers
Northwest.
But I think people are selling short Portland and Denver.
Absolutely.
Those teams are still intact, right? They lost. Portland lost a big guy to an injury, right? So they get him back.
And then they got Whiteside, the guard AD.
And you got. I think people are really sleeping on Portland and Denver.
Denver was number 1 seed one day.
One or two.
Right. And they
you
also
got to play basketball.
And they also got that freshman stud and Michael Porter back.
They bring back Michael Porter.
was injured
brings
last
back
year.
Nurkic, right? So, I'm not really sold on LeBron and the Lakers, the Clippers. I'm not really sold on any of those big name guys
wide open
coming out of the West. So it's like right now, at both sides is intriguing to watch and to see how things develop. So that's what I'm looking forward to. And of course, the Sixers, that's my club.
Get your popcorn ready.
But Joel Embiid, this is his second off season now without being injured. He should be back. In
he had the weight
state.
thing. He had the weight thing going. He had to drop the weight.
One thing that's been good for me, I'm on Twitter actively, and I haven't seen him. That's a good thing for me. I haven't seen him on there. So hopefully he comes back and he's a little chiseled. You know what I'm saying? He got his body together. He's
I think
he
is.
And now he's ready to go.
Plays with a chip.
Now he's ready to go. I think a lot of times with Embiid, he starts shooting them threes when he's tired.
Yeah, because he don't want to bang anymore.
Right.
It's interesting with having Horford on his team now, and he don't have to go in the weight room. With
we
Horford.
know who the dirty man
He
is
don't
now,
want to
right?
do that anymore. He don't have to battle.
That was a
Hopefully
good thing.
he's in shape. Hopefully Ben's been working on that Jay, and then we can go right now. Hopefully.
That's the whole.
You gonna find it out?
Yeah, that's the good thing about getting Horford. For one, you pull him off of Boston, that tips y'all a little hit of Boston now, and Horford can run the same plays that Embiid can run. So now Embiid doesn't have to play 30 plus minutes, 40 minutes a night, which is though we know that's like impossible for him to play
And
10 games straight.
And he's going to take off 15 games.
So with that being said,
interesting. Wow.
we don't have to work him so hard.
Game taking off.
You know, so maybe now he takes off 6 because he's only paying 20 something.
No, they're going to game manage. They're going to, they're going to load manage. That's what I meant. Take off. They're going to load manage him 15 games just.
Why is it load managing now? Like,
but
they didn't do it
what
back
I'm saying
in the day.
is that was before you
that's a good
had
question.
Horford. Now that you got Horford, you can sit him more minutes down.
See, I think they're going to look at it the other way. I think they're going to say, now that I have Horford, I don't even need to play him. He can be the center. Horford will be the center tonight.
Right.
Embiid, those back-to-backs, you'll sit down. Horford, you're the guy tonight.
But the coach said he wants to be the number 1 seed. Does that affect your playing on back-to-backs?
So
I think they still can be the number 1
I
seed.
think it's Embiid's conditioning though.
Right.
So like my man Flay just said, it's a team that's the healthiest down the stretch. The last few years we've seen where the teams that are injured.
True.
Like you say, Portland, Golden State, Cleveland in the past. Guys get injured.
And Toronto managed.
But I think a lot of times, like, people don't understand that conditioning goes hand in hand sometimes with injuries.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So if Embiid
it's carrying extra weight.
is carrying extra weight and he's out of shape, it's more likely that he'll get injured.
Yes.
Or, I mean, we're not talking about, somebody undercuts you, tear a knee ligament, or you break a leg. That happens. That can happen to anybody, no matter what kind of shape you're in. But, it's just, I think Embiid, he needs to grow up. And like I said, the fact that I haven't seen him on Twitter this offseason at all.
Yeah.
I think the first time was when the Eagles played the Packers, because somehow he's a Packers fan.
Yeah. I think he was trolling, but yeah.
So this is the first time. So I think the fact that I haven't seen him has been encouraging to me, that he's somewhere working hard, getting it in, listening to and stop. And like a lot of times, these young guys, you say things and they take it as a critique. You're critiquing me. You're hating on me.
Right.
No, dude, I'm trying to help you. Like, if you listen, you can be the best. You can be better than I was. If you do, I'm telling you the things that I didn't do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
getting sick and all this other stuff, the diet and everything.
Oh,
And I've never heard of anybody being
God.
sick or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
But I think they might have learned something from that loss to Toronto. I remember the story that Wayne Gretzky talked about before he won his first Stanley Cup. The New York Islanders had a run. They won like 4 in a row. And I think the last one they beat Edmonton Oilers. And so Gretzky goes into their locker room to congratulate him. Gretzky walked in there and saw how physically spent the Islanders were. He said they were done. They were laying on the floor. They had nothing left. And in his mind, it clicked. That's what it takes to win the Stanley Cup. That's what it takes to win. Now, I'm one of the greatest ever to do it. But this is what it takes if you want to hold the trophy, whatever. And I think Embiid and them kind of learned from last season. Like, I wasn't there for that whole series. Was I going to play? I'm going to be sick. I'm not there. All that training and diet, this goes along with it. So it should be very interesting. And we'll do an NBA pre-show, Dre. I'll let you know when we're going to do that as it gets closer.
Okay.
Definitely talk about, predictions and what we think going to happen. But tonight, we got a little boxing.
Boxing?
We got a welterweight unification match between Mr. Spencer and Mr. Porter.
Let's get it.
Jonathan's a big Porter guy.
You got my blanket ready soon?
Jonathan's been calling for the upset. Definitely. Yeah, it's pay-per-view. It's pay-per-view Fox. Get you on more TV. Definitely Jonathan. What's your call?
Oh man, it's gonna be a phone booth, because
Porter brings it. Styles makes fights.
Porter gonna bring it. Porter ain't gonna let you give up. He ain't gonna let you slack. You gotta bring energy to beat him. But the thing about with Junior, he likes to beat you at your game. Like when he fight people that want to bang, he go bang with them. When he fight boxers, he outbox them. So he likes to beat you at your game and say that you can't beat me. No way. I'm gonna beat you at your best, while you still doing your best. So I think it's gonna be a phone booth fight. I think Sean is gonna run out of gas. I don't really think a knockout, but I think Sean's gonna run out of gas in like the 7th, 8th round because he burns a lot of energy because he stays on top of you. And to beat Sean, you gotta have energy to go those 12 rounds. If you don't bring the energy, he's gonna outwork you every night. That's his game. He's not really a boxer or nothing like that. He's not accurate, but he's just always gonna work you. Yeah, he's gonna outwork you. And And I think Earl is going to, stay, land those shots, those straight right hands, and sit him down once he jumps forward to try to land that punch, which Sean Porter always does. I think Spencer's going to hit him with those right hands and slow him down. And I think I don't see a knockout, but it could be late, maybe 10th. But I think it's going to be I think it's definitely going to be Spence going to win by at least unanimous. He's going to win unanimous, but it's going to be a close unanimous
What time
fight.
is that fight?
I think usually the festivities start
Something
around
like
8 undercard.
like when I watched on a rewatch because I wasn't old enough. Roberto Duran and Tommy and
Sugar Ray Leonard?
and, no, not Tommy Hearns, but
Marvin Hagler.
and Marvin Hagler. It seemed like Duran was just one step behind him for speed, power, everything. But he gave it all he had. He made every round a fight, but it was like he lost every round. Like, so it was unanimous, but it wasn't really unanimous. Like, if you watch the fight, I fought that guy all night. So I think that's what it's going to be. Something similar, not the same amount of action, but I think it's going to be something similar to that. I think Sean is going to bring it every round, but I think it's just not going to be enough.
Oh, okay. Talent wins.
Right.
Hey man, I'll be right here. This is my first Saturday where I can be at the ranch all day.
All day long.
All ranched out. All ranched out.
Just like that all day.
Oh, definitely. Interesting enough. I got Spencer winning a decision. I like Porter because Porter comes to fight. He's going to bring in his style to make fights. And it's definitely the best of the best getting together. Sometime he lost, which we thought sometime wasn't that good. Keith is one time. I call him sometimes. He's going to fight sometime. And he's moved out of the way. And Spencer says it's Porter, then Pacquiao, if they want to do that, because I want to make my money fighting the older guy too. And then, Crawford, because that's the fight. But I don't overlook this guy. Porter make him earn this check.
Oh, yeah, he'll earn his money.
Oh, definitely.
He'll have some lumps.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be somewhere. The other interesting part, and like we've seen this before, is Canelo going up to fight Kovalev.
Yeah.
Andre Ward has already done this. So he's repeating this and going to do this and fight Kovalev. My interesting thing is that Canelo don't want to make the weight no more? What's going on? He don't want to
He just keep moving up.
He just keep moving up. Like, I mean, like, eventually, if you want to fight somebody slower, the last thing you want to fight is greatness and speed.
Right.
Like, if you go up in a weight and you're going to fight this guy, and he doesn't have the hand speed, and you think you could beat his body, and you may be, naturally have grown up like Andre Ward's size. I mean, the Kovalev, okay, I guess he's got his Dazan money.
Yeah.
They gave him that money, so you could pick what you want to fight. But I thought with the Dazan money, you could actually, look, I got my money. Right. I can go fight somebody. Like, I wanted to see if Spence would come up to 154 or he meet him at 154, but he's just totally going out the other direction. I guess he's the money man, so he can do it. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't like this move up, because he was always the man fighting the boys. That was the thing. He was always much bigger than all the welterweights.
When you walk in that ring, that fight night,
he was always much bigger.
When you rehydrate,
right? He was fighting 147, but he was at 168. Walking in, like, he was always much bigger than everybody. And that was a lot. Just looking at him as a fighter. You're looking on the other side. You know how big you are. And you're looking at this guy like, whoa. And he could hit on top of how big he was. So him keep moving up. I don't like the move. Like you said. At the same time, you could see the Dazan and say I could do whatever. Like, you could say I can pick and choose my fights and fight all people. I don't think he should have took this fight. Yeah. He could have fought somebody much lesser, much weaker.
Say Kovalev is not a.
And he's not a pushover. He's not a pushover.
I'm not a boxing guy, but I know that guy.
You just lost. You're going to give up the reach. You're giving up everything, and you're fighting a power puncher.
And I want to take it away from him. He's going off the fight. But I just saw some stuff at 154 and 155 with these guys out here, Spencer and them, that seem very intriguing.
Actually, the code, that's a Spencer thing is, I think, it's a co-main event. Actually, the other fighter, it's a Mexican guy. This guy is tough. Wait till you watch it.
One thing I will say, but the Canelo thing though, I'm not upset.
Yeah.
I don't, you know,
He's not fighting a tomato can.
Right. I don't wish to see that in boxing. I want to see you fight a guy.
That's fighting.
Fight
That's
a
gonna
guy
fight
that got
you back.
a shot to win.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
he
saying?
didn't call me out at 175.
Yeah.
I couldn't make the weight anyway.
You
but.
know, I kind of commend him and give him kudos. I mean, I know y'all boxing guys, and you're like, it don't make sense for him to go all the way up there to fight this guy. But for me, as the casual boxing fan, I want to see, you know, guys fight.
Guys, somebody want to hit you.
Fight somebody that got a chance to win, man. Make me feel like I'm watching a fight.
Competition.
Both guys got a shot to win.
Right. Because it's not like Kovalev lost to anybody that was not worthy. He lost to somebody that's what
Andre Ward,
30-0. Like he lost to a 30-0 fighder. So you can't.
First time you could say he could have got the decision.
I think he did. I think he should have got the decision the first time. But the second time, you know,
he got body beaten.
He got beat bad. Yeah,
Andre Ward was comfortable. I know you
playbook. The playbook was all the way out, and you seen that in the first fight. You seen Andre Ward slacking. Then towards the end of the fight, you seen the second fight. You seen him, you know, picking and choosing, picking him apart towards the end. Yeah. You know, so I think it's gonna be nice, but I don't think he should have took it.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. It should be a good night of boxing. That's gonna jump off in November. Not sure the exact date. And you got Spencer and Porter definitely tonight, which would be the main event happening at the welterweight division. Both guys weighed in at 147. So I think they'll come in somewhere close to 160, you think, once they rehydrate. Definitely. But fellas, it's been another great session down here. Sports Talk Live for the culture. We'll be back next week. We have the quarter mark of the NFL season. We'll talk about what happened with this boxing match, and we get closer and closer with the NBA. And we got some Major League Baseball playoffs coming up. The Phillies spent a whole lot of money, but went backwards. We'll talk about that next week too. Grab some baseball guys. Okay, guys, we out of here. Peace.